Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Yesterday, William Ruto convened an urgent meeting, a Kenya Kwanza parliamentary group meeting, and in attendance were all the UDA leaders, the Kenya Kwanza leaders. Rigathi Gachagua, the deputy president, was there. Sylvanus Osoro, who is the majority chief whip, was there. Aaron Cheruiyot, who is the majority leader in the Senate, was there, and of course Kimani Ichung'wah, majority leader in the National Assembly, was there, among other leaders. William Ruto presented to them what he expects from them, because Parliament is about to reconvene from recess, and there are, among other things, that they're expected to debate in Parliament. Among them, 1,000 soldiers going to Haiti. And the meeting was also taking place against a backdrop of the high cost of living, and Davis Chirchir had indicated to the country that we should only expect an increment and not a reduction, with our neighbors Uganda and Tanzania reducing the oil prices. So there were a lot that they discussed. Of course, there is also a looming, or rather a planned, State of Nation address. William Ruto is supposed to address a joint parliament, both the Senate and the National Assembly. And so I think they were preparing together, and of course they were supposed to give William Ruto what the ground says, because during this recess, most of the members of parliament went back to their electorates. I expect that is what they did, and so William Ruto wanted to get a feedback. And for the first time, I got a headline that really shocked me, that UDA MPs confront Ruto over the cost of living. And I found that very funny, because for the very first time, it seems the members of parliament decided that we have to confront this situation. But very many Kenyans have said that they have found this very laughable, because, as I always say, they didn't just land from the moon and found out that the cost of living is high. The cost of living is high as a result of certain mechanisms that they undertook or they neglected. If you look at the headline, because it was also reported in the mainstream media, that the MPs took a swipe and they told Ruto that the situation in the country is making it even difficult for them to interact with the electorates. And you know very well that there are other competitors who are watching, like scavengers, and they will ensure that they take advantage of what is happening. And sources say that these members of parliament told Ruto that they are becoming unpopular by the day. But the question that one would ask is, what has really made the cost of living to be unbearable to most Kenyans? And the answer is very simple. The first one is the introduction of heavy taxes, especially on fuel products. And it is the members of parliament that are allied to the UDA that were whipped to pass that bill, the Finance Bill 2023. And they did that with a lot of bragging rights. And I remember William Ruto had warned that he wanted to see anybody who would vote against that bill, because according to William Ruto, that bill contained other things among them, because remember it also contained the housing levy. And William Ruto said that the housing project that is taking place will assure most youths jobs. Because when William Ruto did away with the Kazi Mtaani, he said that he was replacing that with the affordable housing project that he said would really create jobs, because he has always said plumbers will be needed, masons, and all those kind of skills, those who possess those skills. So he had warned. And Rigathi Gachagua, without blinking, told off the opposition that they should not even attempt to oppose this bill because they didn't have the numbers and this bill was going to pass by hook or crook. So these members of parliament, were they voting with their emotions or with logics? Because now, a few months down the line, they are now telling William Ruto that the cost of living is making it difficult for them to interact with the electorates. What exactly do they want William Ruto to do? They are part of the problem. And number two, most of them used to bank on blame game against the former regime, Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Amolo Odinga. Right now, Raila has taken a low profile. Uhuru Kenyatta has decided to go quiet. And in fact, Raila has talked to his people. And there are bipartisan talks. The National Dialogue Committee that is talking in Bomas to ensure that there is peace and tranquility. And with that, most of them are finding it very difficult because you cannot go back and start blaming Raila Odinga and William Ruto. They had said that when Raila was leading demonstrations, he was making it difficult for William Ruto to stabilize the economy. Now they have been left. But the economy is not stabilizing. Instead, it is deteriorating. And with that, it is very difficult. They don't know what to do. Most of them would wake up and they would just call Raila's name anyhowly. And it was working for them. Now, their hands are tied. Number three, they kept on telling the electorates that William Ruto should be given time to stabilize the economy, to ensure that the cost of living comes down. But with more than 15 months down the line, there are no signs of any light at the end of the tunnel. There is no any hope of a white smoke. Because you all know that Kenyans are reading what is happening in the neighborhood. While they are being told that prices of the basic commodities are skyrocketing because of, among other things, the Hamas and Israel war, they are wondering why it is only happening in Kenya while it doesn't affect the neighboring countries. And so they have waited, but they are realizing that the situation is not getting any better and they are beginning to become very impatient. And that is why the MPs have got a cause to worry. And then Kenyans are tired of all the lies that have been perpetuated. And this is the reason why the members of parliament took the heat from the electorates and they decided that they have to confront William Ruto. Now, one funny thing is that William Ruto told them that his hands are tied. In other words, he was telling the members of parliament that you must carry your own cross because there is no going to be any change. Instead, that meeting ended in disarray, if you ask me, because they planned for another meeting to follow. And nothing is going to change. If William Ruto has said that his hands are tied, even if you convene 10 more meetings, nothing is going to happen. And ladies and gentlemen, choices have got consequences. When the leaders were voting in parliament to pass the finance bill 2023, they thought it was going to be a walk in the park. Now they are realizing that it is not. It is their time to go back to the electorates and apologize to them. And if William Ruto is not careful, it will reach a point where each and every member of parliament will look at the situation at the county level, and they might decide to read from different pages and pull towards opposite directions. I don't know how you feel when you get such kind of headlines that older members of parliament confront Ruto for the very first time. Like many Kenyans say, Kime Waramba.